Hey everyone, Jana and Carolyn here with Holistic Institute of Wellness.
Hello everybody.
Hope you're doing well today, and I hope you are enjoying, wherever you are, this beautiful fall weather. I know here in Knoxville we are having some gorgeous days. We've had really a beautiful weekend.
It's been spectacular.
Yeah, and this weekend we got to celebrate Jana's birthday.
We did.
Happy birthday, Jana.
Thank you, Carolyn. There's still more to come.
I know. Well, you know, I like to celebrate a whole month. So.
I know. That's why I'm excited. The month just began.
Yeah, mine's at the end of July, and yours is at the beginning of October. So, I mean, you've got the whole month ahead.
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
Yes,
awesome.
I do.
So we wanted to talk to you all today about just sharing some things around anger. And the reason we chose this topic today and to share this month is because there's a tremendous amount of anger in the collective consciousness right now. So, you know, I've had a lot of people ask me, well, when you talk about collective consciousness, what exactly are you referring to? And the collective is made up of all of us. And so my thoughts, Jana's thoughts, your thoughts are all going into the collective soup, as I like to call it. And right now, that collective soup holds a lot of anger in it. So we thought we would just kind of maybe share some techniques that has helped us, have helped us through the years, and how we deal with anger or cope, whatever, and also what we share with our clients.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. So as Carolyn and I were talking earlier, as we were putting together bullet points for the topic tonight, Chinese medicine, anger in Chinese medicine affects the liver. The emotion to the liver is anger in Chinese medicine. So we call this liver fire, we call this liver heat, liver qi stagnation. We have a couple of different categories of how we place it depending on symptomology. So when it comes to anything like this is a classic case of liver stagnation, liver qi stagnation, liver fire. It really, again, headaches, vertigo, migraines, that's what we would call liver fire. Anger, rage misplaced. That would also be a tremendous amount of liver fire. There's a category as it escalates.
So it actually sets up, as far as, so the emotional side of it actually gets stored in the liver of the body.
Yes.
Wow.
So it's always interesting when people start talking about any kind of discomfort they may be having, or gallbladder issues, because in Chinese medicine, gallbladder and liver are together. And that's not to say that anything's wrong with it. It's just two organs that are filters. Remember that. They're both filters.
I know the spleen is in that same general vicinity. Does it often get affected, or?
Spleen's on the other side of the body.
Okay.
It's on the exact other side of the body, and it's known to filter the blood.
Okay.
And so, but we could actually say yes, because the emotion to the spleen is worry.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of worrying going on right now as well.
Right.
And so again, some people are taking the worrying and it's transferring into anger and fear.
And some people's blood is boiling.
Literally. Yes, it is.
So that would naturally affect the spleen. Okay.
Yes, it is.
And that's all, Jana. That's really all about what the midline of the body, right?
The middle jowl.
Yeah. Where would you describe
remember, over on the right side is liver, gallbladder. Left side is spleen, pancreas. Okay, and then of course kidneys are in the mid to lower back region.
Yeah.
And kidneys carry fear.
Right.
So again, we've kind of got kidney, spleen, and liver all going on here. And the bottom concern, the foundation, starting with worry maybe, and then transferring over into fear, and then fear usually transfers over into anger. That tends to be a popular, doesn't always have to happen in that order.
Yeah.
It's different for everybody.
Yeah.
But that's a popular, order, if you will.
Progression.
Progression, yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Well, that's really informative, because I know when I'm working on individuals energetically and I'm feeling a lot of tension in that particular area of the body, you know, I always try to be mindful and share with them what I'm sensing,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's good to know that it's in relationship to that.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for me, it's always been like one of the things I wanted to say to you all. It's so important to honor and manage our anger. It's also important to acknowledge our anger. A lot of us, especially those of us who grew up here in the South, I don't know, I will just say, speaking for myself, it seemed like since, I never felt like I was really given permission to express my anger. And I'm not saying anyone put that upon me. What I'm saying is that I was always trying to be the good girl and always trying to do things right and responsible and things of that nature. So if anybody put it on anybody, it's probably me putting it on myself.
Sure.
But, I didn't think I was actually entitled to be angry.
Oh, yes, I
Right?
understand that.
So it took me, I don't know how many years, Jana, to actually get in touch with my
Yeah.
anger,
Yeah.
right? And,
Yeah.
and then not only get in touch with it, but then find productive ways on how to channel it.
Yes. A lot of people can relate to that.
And that's so important that we learn
Yeah.
how to honor and manage our anger, because if we don't, it really does fester into an illness,
Absolutely.
whether it be physical. Well, what we like to talk about as opposed to illness, more of a disease, right? A dis-ease
Dis-ease.
in the body.
Yes.
And that all starts with our energy and emotion.
Absolutely.
So that energy and emotion can set up and form dis-ease in the body.
Yeah. And when you think about it, the middle part, right? Again, we call it the middle jowl, or the abdominal part, the abdomen, energetically is the solar plexus,
Yeah.
which is all will and
Yes.
where do you hold your essence in the world? How do
Yes.
you walk in the world? Your power center.
Right.
So I know for me personally as well, working with people who might be having an anger time, right? And they're very angry about something. And they come to me for digestive issues.
Right.
But I start asking questions.
Right.
And I'll zero it down.
Yeah.
And you'll find a lot of ulceritis, a lot of,
Yeah.
again, symptomology. It's so beautiful the way it all matches up when you bring in the energetics of something.
Yeah.
And again, anger is, I think it's fair to say, a lot of us had the experience of not being able to express. And what did it do?
Yeah, and what it did to us, right? And I think that's why it's so important to get to the root of it, because there's, we'll often say, that made me so angry, or that person really makes me angry, or that situation makes me angry. But what I think is important to do is to stop and really ask ourselves, well, what is the root of it? Like, is there something deeper in me? What is this triggering? Is this related to something in my past? Is it due to some sort of injustice, or, some sort of experience I might have had, or something I've witnessed? Because when we get really angry like that, it typically comes from some sort of trigger
Sure.
from within us, right?
Sure. My gosh, yeah. And again, just, is it present? Is it past? Is it an unresolved issue that was not spoken about? And some people think, oh, it's nothing, I'll just let it go. But really, it is something.
Yeah.
And it never got dealt with at the time. So it'll show up in different ways.
And then you and I talk a lot about the imprint
Yes.
that kind of energy
Oh my
leaves,
gosh,
right?
Absolutely. I share this with my clients all the time. Everything leaves an imprint, and an energetic has a frequency to it. Anger totally has a frequency to it. And I believe it was Doreen Virtue that wrote a beautiful book, and she recorded the different frequencies of emotions. I mean, they're actually printed like a lie detector test
Yeah.
or a seismograph for
Yeah.
earthquakes. Well, someone put that to a machine and they recorded it, and what anger looks like, what worry, what grief. So the energetics of an imprint will stay in our field, in what we call our biofield, and it's like a residue, right? It's like a footprint in mud. It doesn't go anywhere.
Right.
It stays right there the moment it happened,
Yeah.
and that's called an imprint. and that will stay in our field if it doesn't get rectified.
Yeah.
All kinds.
Another, speaking of the imprints, this made me think of Dr. Emoto's work.
Yeah.
Dr. Emoto was just a beautiful, beautiful man, and he did a study about water and how the effects of words had on water. And so he would tape different words to bottles of water, and some of you may have seen these videos and read maybe his book. But, you know, it was interesting to see when he would put words on the bottles like hate, anger, fear, what the water crystals would actually do, versus when he would put love, joy, happiness, and what they would do. And so the whole part of the experiment was to show how also that affects us, because we're, what, 75% water essentially?
85, 90.
So talking about imprinting, so that energy, those words get imprinted upon us, and affect our cells and our DNA. And
It's a wonderful expression,
Yeah.
a wonderful example of a word imprinting on our soul, if
Yeah.
you will.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really important to be very mindful of what your part that you're putting in the collective. And, again, you want to just learn. We're not saying don't be angry. What we're saying is learn how to manage your anger, honor your anger, and do it effectively, so that you are able to return back to center, so that you're not staying in that state, because anger is a low frequency vibration. It's a shadow frequency, and it causes more shadow frequencies to come into your life when you're in that lower state. So take the time to honor your anger, look at it, find the root of it, see where it's coming from, see what the triggers are within you, and then learn how to channel that energy in a different way. Just find a safer form of expression, and how you can really, shift your perspective, shift your mood, shift your energy.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I'm a big fan of batting cages,
Yeah. You know
the
what?
driving range.
Well, that's what I was
golf
going to say,
driving
Jana. One of my most favorite things used to be was going to the driving range and just knocking the golf balls.
I did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that was
Yeah.
awesome.
It's
I
very
haven't done that.
cathartic.
I haven't done that in a long time, but it's so
It's
cathartic.
very cathartic. It's wonderful. And the batting cage, remember, you can adjust the timing of it. For anybody who's never been in a batting cage, or if you're intimidated by it, it's so cathartic
Yeah.
to make contact with that ball.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I used to always work out a lot, and I use the word used to because at the moment it's difficult to get into a gym. So, but I practically grew up in a gym, so it was a very common place for me to go to work out my aggressions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know for me, one of the things that I really appreciate is just having a good friend that I can vent to. And also, like, letting that friend know, hey, can I talk with you for a few minutes? I have something that's really upset me. I need to just sound it out with you, versus just calling them up and dumping on them. And that's something we want to be mindful of, because we don't want to dump our energy onto someone. And so, if you've got one of those dear friends that you can just call up and say anything to, shoot them a text and say, hey, I'm really upset. I really need to talk to you. Would it be okay if we chatted for a bit and I could just share with you what's going on? And, most of the time our friends are there for us and they understand. What you don't want it to do is to turn into like a gripe fest and, just get in the ditch with each other. Make sure your friend's in a good space, and so that you can kind of lift up together, versus, going down into the depths.
Right.
And of course, the creative expression is always really good.
That's great.
And
Journaling,
vision boards, painting,
process painting.
process painting,
Right.
not painting for a pretty picture.
Right.
That's not what we're
Just-
talking about. We're just talking about getting some paint and paper or canvas, whatever, and just getting messy and expressing that out. That's always super
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, That's a fun one.
Yeah.
And I just had a thought too, when if you're talking to a friend and you're sounding things out, again, remember, and Carolyn just mentioned it, is we everybody means well, everybody's got great intention, but we do want to make sure everybody feels better or feels fine at the end of the conversation.
Yeah.
Right? We want to make sure whoever we've spoken to use as a sounding board also feels okay, that they haven't taken it on. Right? That's very important. We want to make sure they feel okay as well.
Yes.
Because it's not for anybody else to take our energy on. We meet in the middle of neutrality.
Right. Great
And
word.
you leave everything there.
Yeah.
You leave everything on the ground at the end of the conversation.
Yeah. And one thing I would say that I've shared with you a lot in these videos is, just rubbing your hands together and then just brushing down your auric field and really cleansing your energy after you've had that conversation, or getting outside and standing on the ground and allowing the earth just to, take that energy from you, and then thank the earth for doing that for you, because Mother Earth is a living, breathing organism, and she is helping us a lot on this ascension path. And so, one of the best things that you can do actually to neutralize yourself and anger or any high charged emotion is to get outside in nature.
Yes.
Disconnect from the devices.
Disconnect.
And get in touch with nature, and that will just always bring it back around and give you a fresh perspective.
Well said.
Yeah. The other thing, Jana, which is a big one, forgiveness.
Yes.
Forgiveness of self,
Yes.
forgiveness of others.
Yes.
Right?
There is a wonderful, wonderful prayer out there called the forgiveness prayer, also known as the Ho'oponopono. Okay.
Love it.
And it's an old Hawaiian prayer. This is a very old Hawaiian prayer. And it's four sentences, and they're very short sentences. And I always have to think about them. I have to backtrack in my head when I do it to make sure I get it right. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry is the first one?
I think it's I'm sorry.
Yeah. See? Told you. I'm sorry.
Please forgive me.
Please forgive me.
Thank you.
I
I
love
love
you.
you.
There we go.
Yeah.
So it's a wonderful prayer. I do it. I really do. Right now I'm in the middle of a 30-day challenge for myself, and I do it every single morning.
Oh, so you're doing that right now.
I'm doing it right now.
So can you share just a little bit about the, not what you're working on, but just maybe the effects you're seeing within yourself?
Oh, absolutely. They're very subtle for me, but I have had a couple of great breakthroughs. And for me, they made perfect sense. But it definitely brings a lot more compassion. It'll bring more compassion. Your more patience.
Yes.
More understanding. You'll be able to hear behind what people are saying.
Yeah.
Because sometimes if we're in the heat of something or something else, it's not necessarily what the person is trying to say.
Yeah.
There's actually something behind those words.
Right.
And sometimes, as some people would say, it's our inner child speaking.
Yeah.
It's our inner child that's upset. The adult isn't upset. The inner child is upset.
Right.
So, but it's the wording that comes out of the adult, and that's what just can skew everything.
Yeah.
The filtration of it gets really skewed.
Yeah.
So this is a wonderful way to clear some deep stuff, some deep emotions, deep memories.
Yeah.
That there are emotions attached. And it's a great practice for people who may not be in contact with each other at the time. It's a great practice for even if we've got loved ones or people who you may be doing this for may not even be here anymore. They may have already passed over. That doesn't matter. I promise you, that doesn't matter at all. The important thing is get it out. Get it out of your system. Get this old anger, this old frustration, and get it out of you, because you're the only one taking the hit.
Yeah. I know I've used that prayer gosh, I think I learned about it maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I have utilized it on so many different situations.
Yeah.
When I've had conflicts with other individuals and was struggling on how to maybe approach them or say something.
Mm-hmm.
And also just healing.
Yeah.
Healing from the past and things that have happened, and
Yeah.
wow, it really shifts your energy.
It does.
And it totally puts you in a different place.
It does.
Yeah.
And Steve Noble, he's on YouTube.
Yes.
Steve Noble, Nobel, out of the UK. Gosh, he's been around for a good 4 years now. He's got quite a library now on YouTube. And it's called the Forgiveness Prayer, and he's done it. It's about 12 minutes long. It's not a big deal, but it's a wonderful way to start the day.
Yeah.
To start the day. And you can try it at the end of the day, but again, we are still fresh before we step outside those doors and we enter into the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I always do mine before the day.
Yeah.
And it kind of sets my foundation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
Yeah, it's a beautiful prayer.
Yeah. Well, this has been great, Jana. Thank you so much for
You're welcome.
sharing all this today. And I thought, since we've got quite a month ahead of ourselves.
Yes.
A lot going on right now.
Yes.
Lot of big events coming up.
Very large events.
And I thought what we would do today is draw a card. I'm going to give you that. Draw a card from the Work Your Light deck. And this is by Rebecca Campbell.
Love these.
And so I thought it would be good to have a message that we could focus on this month that would maybe keep us in a higher state of frequency.
Very well said.
And balance. So I'm going to have everybody just take a few moments and close your eyes. And we're going to take a couple of nice deep breaths. And what we're going to do is just set the intention that our divine teams work in a collective together, bringing forth a message to all of us that are on this call and that will be listening later. A message that we can just hold to this month as we move through this time, helping us to be in a higher state of alignment and frequency. Okay. How many times, Jana?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Awesome.
Here we go. The crumbling. I do not know how many times this card has been pulled over the last several months. It's amazing. As I've done my Facebook Lives on our fan page and also in some of our groups, this card keeps showing up. What are you clinging on to?
Why?
What are you clinging on to?
What's everybody clinging on to?
We've got to let go of what we're clinging on to so we can birth the new.
Yep. Sorry, looking for it. Here it is. I'm sorry. I think something flew up my nose. It's really obnoxious.
You're over there yawning, scratching your nose.
I really am sorry. It's really, I hope it didn't fly up there. Okay. Okay, what are you clinging on to? There is a shift happening right now where anything inauthentic can no longer survive. Relationships, jobs, social structures, anything built on shaky ground is destined to tumble down. It's happening to bring you back home to who you truly are, both individually and to society as a whole. So you can live a life that is in alignment with who you truly are. When you're in the thick of it, it can feel like a personal attack from the universe. Have faith, because the difficult times will be your defining moments. You will be reborn in the fire. You are being called to surrender, to stop trying to hold it all together, to loosen your grip, to let the crumbling occur. It may be difficult at first, but in the end, the sooner you let go, the sooner the rebirthing will occur. What are you trying to hold together? What are you doing your best to avoid? How are you trying to pretend that everything is okay? You have what it takes to allow what is falling away to tumble and fall. Once the tower has crumbled, you will be able to rebuild your home on solid ground with mighty foundations and a view that is so magnificent that it will take your breath away each new morning. Kali, the goddess of destruction, and the Black Madonna are with you now. Lay it all on their altar. They can hold it all. Work your light inquiry. What are you clinging to for fear of nothing to come to take its place? So what are you clinging to for fear of nothing coming to take its place?
All right.
That
Well,
makes
I think
perfect
that's a
sense.
great question for all of us to ask ourselves. And you might want to just jot that question down and maybe do a little journaling around it and see what comes up for you, because this is an incredible time that we're in. We've said that throughout this whole year, and it really is. And as hard as this time appears, there's a lot of gifts in it. There's a lot of good that is coming out of this time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of revelation. There's a lot of evolution. And a lot of it has to do with us shifting our perspective and understanding that there is a bigger plan at place here, and there is a divine plan at place here, and that we have to trust in the divine plan, the divine creator, ourselves, to move through all of this with as much ease and grace as possible. So carry this message with you throughout the remainder of the month, and just keep asking yourself, what am I clinging on to? And be aware of the anger coming up, and be aware of the triggers, and take time to get to the root of it and shift that energy into something higher.
And just honor it.
Yeah.
Everybody's going through it, I promise you.
Yeah.
We're all angry about something regarding everything that's going on.
Yeah.
So know that you're not alone.
Yeah. Good point. Thank you, Jana.
You're welcome.
All right, everyone. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and week and month, and we will see you again soon. Thank you. Be well.
Be well.